a sovereign man, his property rights and the right to dispense of his earnings and his property as he sees fit is freedom and liberation to its core. Marx believed that, considering the fact that inequality, economic equality, being a dialectical materialist, inequality was evil to its core. Thus, in order to do away with inequality, the very notion of private property had to be eradicated. So when you're asking me, well, I have to define why communism is bad. If you're telling me that you believe in the complete abolition of property rights, then yes, that's bad. It is
No,
astronomically bad. As a matter of fact,
I,
again, given the fact
I never
that
said
in
I never said,
2023,
I
the
asked
fact
just
that
your
someone has the audacity to even ask another individual why they think communism is bad just goes to show me why we have the problem that we have today.
now listen. Here's my thing. Now we can sit here and we can expound upon what all these other philosophers had to say what communism is, and you can go into your theism about what property ownership and all that is. Only thing I want to know.
Work that context.
We'll bring me up to speed then.
No, I said you're talking about the theism of communism. I didn't even understand that sentence.
Atheist.
But
That's
again,
why
you're asking me. You're asking me to. You're asking.
Wait.
Let him go, Chuck. Let him go, Chuck. Go ahead, Randy.
Atheist, right? So that's anti-theist.
Wait. Say that again. I'm sorry, I didn't catch that.
He said it was an atheist agenda, so he brought theism into it. I didn't. I just want to know his own view, just his view, not what Marx has said, no other philosophers or anything. Him, why do he believes that it's bad? Nobody else, just him. And him
I just explained it, and I also don't have to interject theism into the issue of communism when, in fact, Karl Marx made it clear that it was his atheism that created that his communist beliefs in terms of how he viewed things economically and politically was birthed out of his atheism. One must first be an atheist before they become a communist. See, the fact that you're asking this question just goes to show you that you haven't studied the literature on communism. I don't have to sit up here and explain and tell you what I think. See, that's the problem.
He's saying from an objective standpoint, there's already there's already literature
and
the historical.
Herein lies the problem, because everyone thinks, and I'm not saying that this is Randy, he didn't say that, to be fair, but the problem is that so many people believe that they have the magic solution, that yes, that everything that the left talks about is based upon these lofty sounding ideals. And it's just that those who try to, in the name of these lofty sounding ideas, did things that were wrong. It is I who can finally right the ship, when in fact, of course, there is no right way to do wrong. Because what communism is doing, what the left is doing, is in fact bucking against what Randy brought up earlier, which was the notion or the concept of natural rights. Nothing is natural about communism. It is unnatural. It begs man to become something that he is not. Which is why it is quintessentially atheistic, because it goes against the very nature of man. And it was through God's revelation that man came to the realization of what he was according to the way God designed him. This is what Karl Marx fundamentally rejected.
Now, my thing is communism says that they were more about a class war based upon your own abilities, which was how you were compensated, right?
Say that one more time, man, because I could tell that you're trying. I'm not trying to be fun. I could tell you're trying to deal with concepts and things that you don't understand. So it's making it hard for me to understand what you're trying to say. Can you please repeat that for me?
Communism was advocating for a class war right? Right or wrong?
No, it wasn't advocating for a class war initially. Because these steps toward the final phase of history was meant to happen organically as the nature of material distribution became more and more advanced, as Karl Marx saw it, of course, because he was taking the sort of dialectical process that Hegel, the German philosophy, Wilhelm Friedrich Hegel, put forth, and he was using that to sort of explain his idea of materialism and man and what in fact motivated man, because he was taking man's motivations and he turned it upside down, you see. But it wasn't until the Russian Revolution, or before, when the seeds of the Russian Revolution were planted in the late 1800s, that Marx began to flip and say, well, instead of communism or socialism, then communism coming to pass during the final phase of capitalism, it is going to take a revolutionary vanguard, a secret group of esoteric thinkers to then lead the revolution forward. And that was when it became revolutionary. Because it was not organic. Because the first country to seriously take Marx's teachings and make them sort of like the sole governing principle, right, of the society was in fact a country in Russia that had not reached the same level of economic development as we saw across Western Europe and the United States. So then that begs the question, how is it that Russia was able to leap over capitalism and end up at socialism? How did this happen? It happened because of a revolution, but that's not what Marx originally predicted.
So
it's very nuanced and subtle. It's not that cut and dry.